Hello everyone, I hope you are all having a wonderful start to 2026. I know I'm a month late in making this video, but today I finally wanted to sit down and share every book I read in 2025. The first book I read was a short story. It follows a woman who is taken to a secluded place by her husband as a form of treatment after emotional trauma. What starts as something meant to heal slowly turns into something deeply disturbing. The story is very psychological and unsettling, and as you can see by the cover, it's The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Next was a very simple, heartwarming story set in India, and I think many Indian people might already be familiar with this one. It's a great book for children and talks about jealousy, kindness, and human emotions in a very gentle way. This one is also a children's book, but it's a classic. It deals with loss, healing, and personal growth. Watching the characters change emotionally as they connect with nature and people around them is one of the most beautiful aspects of the story. This one had been on my TBR forever. The book talks about journeys, how sometimes what we are looking for is already close to you, but we need to go through experiences to truly understand its value. This next book explores racial injustice in America through the eyes of a child. What I loved most was how it shows the growth of a young mind slowly understanding the harsh realities of the world. This next book, I didn't fully get the humor, but as I continued, it became genuinely funny. It's a comedy mixed with travel, and it made me wish I could go on that journey myself. Next was a children's classic again. It's very playful, strange, and enjoyable. This book was everywhere on my feed, and it turned out to be most beautiful and heartbreaking one. It's about loneliness, fleeting love, and emotional vulnerability. The next book I read, this was my introduction to existential fiction. This is psychological, unsettling, and surprisingly gripping. While reading this one, many ideas made sense, but over time I forgot most of them. That's why I don't usually connect strongly with self-help books. This next story is about a woman that filled me with the sadness and frustration, especially from a feminist perspective. But when you consider the time period, you also understand her limitations. This one was one of my fastest read. It is a gripping thriller. I finished almost half of it in one sitting. It was very addictive. The Housemaid. This one is a romance novel, but it was honestly not for me. I didn't connect with the characters and I didn't continue the series as well. As a tutor myself, I found this book especially interesting. It gives insight into the life of governors in the 1800s and transport you back to that era. This one is one of my favorite psychological horror books. If you have watched The Haunting of Bly Manor, it's inspired by this novel. Next up was Little Women. It gave me such a warm, homely feeling. I could even imagine myself living in that era, surrounded by family, simplicity, and everyday life. And after that, I read a book from Narnia. I'm planning to read more of it. This was the first one. After that, I read Gulliver's Travel. This was so interesting, and the journeys were so strange and imaginative. Every adventure made me more curious about knowing what would happen next. This book was my Indian read after a long time. This is set against the backdrop of Indian independence, and it highlighted women's roles beautifully. I really enjoyed reading this book. Next up was a very emotional and heavy read, because I cried deeply reading this. There's innocence, loss, and injustice that I kept thinking about that time, the World War II. And this was the last read of 2025. This is also set in the backdrop of concentration camp and World War, a very, very popular book, The Diary of a Young Girl. So these were the reads of 2025. I explored many kinds of genre this last year, and this year in 2026 my TBR is even bigger. So I really want to explore more and looking forward to read many new stories.